Somehow we're already halfway through 2021, but that just means that there's more omnibuses to get excited about. Woof woof! Hey guys, it's me Marcus, aka the Mad Dog, and we're back with another video. At the beginning of this year, I talked about the 15 omnibuses that I'm most excited for, but I deliberately cut it off to the end of June. That was because I knew that there had to be more books that were going to be announced, and admittedly, I kind of wanted to make a second video about it. First up at number 15, and yep, it's another one of those videos where I say top 10 in the title because apparently that's more attractive to a viewer, but it's actually a top 15. I've got all upcoming Conan omnibuses. To be honest, I am getting a bit of Conan fatigue. I just think there's way too many of these books that are all coming out at once. I understand that obviously there's probably some kind of licensing agreement that Marvel's only got them back for a certain amount of time. I still love the Barbarian and everything that's been released for him so far, and yeah, he does really remind me of myself. Mainly just because of how angry he is all the time. That really speaks to me. Still, whether it's Savage Sword or the original Marvel years, I know we've got solicitations all the way up to volume 7. I'm still on that Conan hype train, so any book that they release for this character, even if I'm not as excited as I was maybe last year, I'm still gonna pick it up. Number 14, I've got What If Volume 1. Obviously, yeah, Volume 2's counted in this as well, but I can't really be more excited for Volume 2 than I am for Volume 1. But What If is just a great series. I remember reading the odd story here and there when I was growing up. I think it's great that they're bringing us this, and no matter what type of storytelling you like, I think that What If is one of those series that just seems to be timeless. I'm not really too sure what cover I'm going to pick up on this, but I do know that I'm going to pick it up from the channel's sponsor Organic Price Books. They've got one of the most efficient pre-order systems, the packaging's amazing, and the shipping is pretty much quicker than the Flash, so I'd recommend picking up any books that you're looking to pre-order or maybe that they've got in stock from there. And just between you and me, if you use code WOOFWOOF, you'll get $2 off your order, and you can use that as many times as you want. And I know that they're going to get both covers in for What If, so I'm not really too sure which one I'll pick up. I'll probably ask JP to just surprise me, but either way, I'm really looking forward to this omnibus. Number 13, I've got Howard the Duck by Chip Zdarsky. Let's just address the elephant in the room. This is pretty much an oversized hardcover. It's definitely been hit with the omnibus tax, and I do think that this is a bit pricey for what you get, but either way, I'm still excited to read it because I've only read the first couple of issues. I love the cover with the sad cat on it. That's probably going to be the one that I pick up, and I just think that Chip Zdarsky is one of those writers that's just improving every time. Somebody asked me to do a top 5 notable works on Chip Zdarsky, but I don't even think that we're past the beginning of his career just yet. Howard the Duck's also just one of those weird, obscure characters that I do want to give a bit more attention to. But the art also just looks fantastic as well. I can't remember who does it off the top of my head, but it looks like it's integrating more of those characters that have cropped up since the Marvel Now era. It's about time that I stop neglecting this part of Marvel Comics, which is why I'm excited to pick this one up. Quick note as well that I forgot to say at the beginning, there's some books that have been pushed back, such as Captain America by Rick Remender, Empire and Star Wars The Old Republic. I thought just to be fair to the books that have been solicited for these next 6 months, I wouldn't include anything that was on my original video. So maybe you want to check that one out if you're looking to see where those books place. As well, you'll be able to tell this from my number 12, but reprints are allowed because I've got Spider-Man by Todd Mcfarlane. I am also excited for the Michelini and Mcfarlane omnibus, but this is the one that I never really got a chance to read. I've read that first omnibus with the black suit and where it incorporated Venom, but this is the part that I never got to see. Again, I do think that this has been hit with a very heavy omnibus tax, but I don't even know which cover to pick. I am leaning towards the black suit DM variant, but I'd pretty much be happy with any of these three. And with me recently picking up the Spider-Gwen DM variant, I do think it'd be great to have those two together, but Mcfarlane was possibly the most influential creator when this series was coming out, and I think it's a bit of a blip on my part that I haven't got this yet. And since I've recently read a bit of Spawn and even did a video on him, I am just really excited to get this one. Number 11, I've got Superman Batman Volume 2. This was one of the biggest surprises when it got solicited, and I'm just praying that DC doesn't cancel this, because I love all the Jeff Loeb part of this run, but I haven't read anything after that, and I've heard that pretty much everything in this second volume doesn't really compare to what's in the first, hence why it's quite high on the list. But Superman Batman was one of the first books that I ever read, so of course I have to respect it enough, and I'm a little bit excited to read this now, considering the fact that I've never given it a chance. I know that's a really weird justification for wanting a book that I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy, so I'm at least excited to see if I do or don't. It's that chartering into the unknown, and with characters like Superman and Batman, it's at least going to be fun, even if it isn't groundbreaking. Number 10, you knew this had to appear at some point, because I've got the Captain Britain expanded omnibus. My amazing girlfriend, the Shadowcat, managed to find me the original printing last year. I am going to keep that because I just love that cover, and I like the fact that this was the biggest whale for me at one point. But I'm still getting this expanded omnibus, and I'm excited to read the stuff that was left out of the original. I never thought this was going to get a reprint, let alone have more content added to it. But Captain Britain is a character that I do feel needs a lot more love, and I'm hoping that he appears in the MCU. If you aren't even sure who he is, I did a video that is literally called Who is Captain Britain? And even if he doesn't have his name on the spine, it's just great to see that they are reprinting this Alan Moore content. And it gives me hope that maybe further down the line we might even see a Miracle Man omnibus. Yeah, that one's definitely wishful thinking, but then again, a few years ago, a Captain Britain reprint was as well. Number 9, I've got Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm as surprised as anyone that this is as high up on the list as it is. This is a book that last year I wished existed, and now it does. But the thing is, DC has absolutely killed it with this second half of the year. And this is the one book on it that I couldn't decide where it placed. I'm so excited that we're getting this. I've already read the first part of it and I absolutely loved it. But maybe the reason why it's so high up on the list is because of the fact that I don't know where this will go in my collection. Does it go next to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Does it go in the Batman part? I just don't know. There is no way that I'm sleeping on this book, and I'm so excited that it just exists. I think that just speaks to how much quality there is in this second half of 2021 that a book like this can only make it at number 9. Number 8, I've got Star Wars Rise of the Sith. In the video for the first half of this year, the Old Republic made it quite high to the top of that list. And I'm as excited for Rise of the Sith because these are parts of Star Wars history that I've never had a chance to read. And yeah, of course, there's no choice for me. I have to get that Darth Maul DM variant because just look how beautiful it is. I think if there is one property that has absolutely nailed every single DM cover that they brought out this year, it is definitely Star Wars by the longest stretch. Even if they did for some reason change the original one for Dr. Aphra. But you know, I've already dealt with the pain of that one. I've heard that this looks more at the prequel trilogy than any other part of the Star Wars canon, which is something that I grew up with, so I've got that nostalgia for it. Either way, I'm really excited that this exists, and I'm just hoping that we get even more Star Wars omnibuses in future. Number 7, I've got Justice League Dark. Hey, is this the part where I have to say that catchphrase? Are people expecting it right now? Oh, okay, yeah. The New 52 is my jam. Now that I've ticked that box, I can just talk to you about how excited that I am that this exists. I did not see this one coming, and it's just further proof that DC is absolutely killing it. Like, I've noticed that they've reduced the number of omnibuses that they're doing, but it seems like they're going for quality rather than quantity. This is also the whammiest of whammy boys that they've ever printed, so I don't even know if this is going to need like its own calyx at some point. But for people who maybe don't have too much time for the standard Justice League, I think this would be ideal for you. You get more characters who don't often get part of the spotlight, but they're just doing their own thing. I've heard great things as well about the Rebirth era that was done by James Tynion, and hopefully if this sells well, maybe they'll put that into an omnibus so that I can finally read that part. Number 6, I've got Jessica Jones Alias Jessica Jones, whatever it's called this time round. This is one of my favourite Brian Michael Bendis series of all time. He even made it really high into my top 10 one and done Marvel Omnibuses. But for some reason, when that Netflix show was coming out, they did another printing of this book, but I just didn't pick it up. I told myself that I was happy with my complete collections because of the fact that I didn't really have a lot of money coming in at that point. But ever since then, and with it going out of print, I've just always felt like there's a hole missing in my collection with it not being there. So I'm glad that I can finally right that wrong. Maybe I will have to get a custom dust jacket just so it can say Alias rather than Jessica Jones, because I don't want to have to put this in the J section of my collection, unless of course they follow it up with something like Pulse, because I do think it's a bit random that this is getting a reprint now, even though there isn't some kind of TV show that's coming out. Yeah, there's rumours that she's going to appear in She-Hulk, so I think maybe Marvel does have an agenda, and I am more than happy to pick this one up just so that hopefully we can see what else is in store. Number 5, I've got the Batwoman Omnibus. I am praying that this doesn't get cancelled, but in all honesty, I'd be disappointed. I just wouldn't be surprised. It's been such a long journey to get this book. It's another one that's got stuff that's from the New 52 era, but the stuff that comes before that that's done by J.H. Williams III and also Greg Rucka, who deserves so much more respect and accolades in the comics industry than what he's got. I think this might well be the best story that he's ever told. The art is phenomenal throughout. There's not really many other people that do layouts that are similar to J.H. Williams, and I think this book is long overdue, especially with the fact that she's had a TV show that, you know, admittedly not many people watch, but has been out for about 3 seasons now. So you know what, better late than never. I just hope that DC doesn't cancel this because I am so excited that it's finally on the horizon. Number 4, and the last Marvel book to make it into this list, I've got the reprint of Ultimate Spider-Man. I said that Superman Batman was one of the first comics that I ever read, but Ultimate Spider-Man was the first book that I ever brought with my own money. If I didn't buy this book, I don't even know if this channel would have existed, and I know there's probably some people right now that are going, oh god, why did that have to happen? But this is the most important comic book to me because it just set everything in motion. It's Brian Michael Bendis when he really had something to prove, and I just love the Ultimate Marvel Universe. There's some people that don't like it, and that's fine because, you know, this is my list, but I am more than willing to back this book in the hopes that we get the rest of the run in Omnibus. We need all of this. We even need the low points of Ultimate Marvel. We need the X-Men. We need the Fantastic Four. We even need an Ultimatum Omnibus. Okay, yeah, maybe that one's a bit of a stretch. There's 3 beautiful covers. Why not get all 3? Get 3 volumes of this volume 1 just so that we can get a volume 2. Number 3, and kicking off a trio of DC books to round out this list, I've got Deathstroke by Christopher Priest. I love the first part of this run, but it was at that time where I was finding it difficult to keep up to date with single issues, and I got the feeling like this was something that I was never really going to be able to collect unless I went the trade paperback route. DC again have absolutely surprised me with this one. I really didn't see this coming out, at least not this soon. Hopefully it's a good sign that they're going to do more recent runs in Omnibus as well, because we've got stuff like Superman by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, and I think there's a lot more runs from that era that deserve some attention, and I'm just glad that Deathstroke is the one that seems to be kicking it all off. Number 2, I've got Batman by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo Volume 2. You don't know how good it feels to be able to say that this book's coming out. Out of all the runs in the New 52, this one's probably my favourite. I love the fact that it's also going to contain stuff like Last Night on Earth because I haven't had a chance to read that just yet, and I held off getting volume 1 of this run for so long because it didn't look like the follow-up was going to get printed. This is a fantastic era of Batman, and I think if anybody's looking for a modern run, this is probably the one that I'd point them to. So it's rare for a sequel volume to place this high up on the list, but I'm glad that it is, and I'm glad that this is finally one that's getting printed. But there's no honourable mentions. We're just jumping into my number 1 most anticipated omnibus for the remainder of 2021, because it is of course none other than Batman No Man's Land Volume 1. Holy shit, it's happening. We are getting No Man's Land in Omnibus. I love this run, and I did a very ballsy move that I very rarely do, because when Road to No Man's Land got announced, I sold off my trade paperbacks of this series. Considering the fact that I know that it's DC, there was no guarantee that they were going to do the main event, I knew deep down that this was something that needs to happen. I feel like I had to will this into existence. This, at least off the top of my head, is my favourite comic book event of all time. There is no way that this should have worked. It still doesn't make sense when you think about it. Gotham City is completely off limits, they've blown up all the bridges, and it's all the Bat family books that connect into one big story that went on for about a year. Some events can't even handle just a couple of months, but somehow No Man's Land did the impossible. But either way, the fact that I can say that this book has been solicited, that hopefully it's going to actually exist on my shelf, means that no other book had a chance of beating this at the top of the list. But those are my picks, but I'm looking forward to hearing about yours. So leave it in the comments section below, or we're going to have a discussion over on our Reddit page r/MadDogComic community. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, why did you get this far? Definitely make sure you're subscribed if you're new here, and check out our sponsor, Organic Price Books. But until next time, whenever that may be, just make sure that you stay safe, stay reading the best books that you can find, and stay mad all you dogs, woof woof! See you at the next video.